When you fast, that's when you're connected to source. So all the downloads are coming, all the downloads, boom, boom, boom. And anything you shoot back up, it's gonna pop up quick. Cause when you fast, things manifest fast, you know? And that's been my experience with that. And that's why I always recommend it to people. It's like you really want to get connected, don't eat for like 3 days. That's it. Just at least 3 days, and you'll start getting tapped in, and you'll be like, "Whoa, okay, there's something more out there."
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Willie Contraband, the artist, the writer, and the creator. Welcome to the show, Willie. How are you doing?
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I feel great. How you feeling?
I'm feeling super, super excited because we have so many beautiful topics to talk about, like God and fasting and plant medicine and whatnot. So I'm just so excited because I love talking about these things. I feel like even when we speak and we talk about these higher dimensions, it's like we are speaking from the crown chakra or third eye chakra. This energy is like very high when we speak of higher consciousness, right? So I just love talking about it. So I'm just so excited to have you today and to talk to you and to listen to you, to what you have to say, or maybe rap. Who knows? Like, who knows what's gonna happen today? If you feel like rapping at some point, some beautiful soul-based stuff,
Yeah.
maybe it will happen. And if you feel called to it, so I would like to start with your journey. I would love to know, like, when did your spiritual awakening happen, and how did you go through it, and how did you get to become an artist and writer and creator, and how did you know that this is my path, like this is where I'm going, and I want to help people and I want to expand their consciousness?
Yeah. Good question. It started a while ago. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe like 2010, 2011, 2012. Those were the years of a lot of like heavy like shadow work, spiritual awakening, like me kind of waking up to everything that was going on and just like realizing like, whoa, like my whole life is a lie, you know? Um, but I would say, yeah, it was around 2012 or so, so about 10 years. And I was just in a very dark place. You know, I grew up in not the best area. You know, I grew up with a lot of density, negative things around me. I just always explored. I always knew there was something more. You know, growing up, you always hear about God and you hear about higher power, but there was no way to connect. And I found out when I went into this dark place in my life, I connected by going inside. You know, I kept looking for the answers outside of me and I never found anything. And I kept looking inside. And the more I looked inside, the more I felt closer to the world and what was real and the connection with spirit. So it's been about like 10 years now that I've been on this journey. And that time in my life, like waking up, spiritually awakening, and all, you know, my foundations being destroyed, led me into becoming an artist because I didn't grow up doing music. I didn't grow up being an artist. And it just came because I needed an outlet. I needed to find a way to, you know, express myself and heal. You know, I feel like we heal through art because art is for the heart. And with pain, you could paint, you know? So with your pain, I started painting. I became an artist because I was just feeling a lot of different things and I was just trying to find myself. So I feel like that's really how this journey happened of me just really trying to find myself.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And so now you have an artistic project called Swim. And so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Wow. Okay, so swim's like my baby. Swim, I wrote the art project Swim in 2016, 2017. And once again, it's like, you know, the spiritual journey. Even when you think like you're awake, there's more parts to wake up to. And there's different parts of the journey. Like the journey is a spiral, like staircase. And it's like you keep coming back to these similar points in your life, but from a different perspective, a different view. And when I wrote Swim, Spoken Words in Motion, it's an acronym. I was in a dark place again, 2016, 2017, where I thought I was over with this part of my life. I was like, oh, I fought all my demons. I did my shadow work. I've been loving myself. And you think that's it, you're good. And then boom, like life comes.
Nope.
And yeah, it gets real, and it's like, hey, you still got a lot of healing to do. You still got a lot of work to do. And Swim came from that time in my life a few years ago where I felt I was emotionally drowning in my life. You know, I was very overwhelmed. 2016, I actually decided to leave my 9 to 5 job. So 2016 was when I decided to become a full time artist. Um, and that was a very scary moment in my life. And I emotionally, and mentally, I was very like overwhelmed, and I was drowning, and everything, like me trying to break through into this higher place in my life, it started like the level I was at the moment, everything started breaking down. So it was like, the universe pushes you, God pushes you to go to that new place. And when you don't really go there right away, the universe shows you, like, all right, I'm gonna mess everything up here. So you have no choice but to go. And that's what happened to me is just, I was emotionally, mentally, energetically overwhelmed. I was drowning and I had to swim. So swim came to life, spoken words in motion, and that's really the moment in my life where I found myself. And by finding myself, by swimming to the promised land, I found God when I found myself.
Mm. Wow, that's such a beautiful metaphor when you say I was drowning and then I just learned how to swim, right? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you can drown and you can like, oh my God, what's going on? But then when you actually let yourself, let's say, surf the wave or, just let yourself be there and experience what's happening, then you're like, oh, actually it's not that bad. Actually, if I accept that I'm in the water already, I can move and I can do something about it. So I love the metaphor and I know love how you describe it. And so that brings us to the a topic that I'm really excited to talk to you about, the topic of God, right? Because you said you found God, and I know that you express it as the generator, the operator, and the destroyer. And I would love if you could elaborate on this idea of God that I know that you just are so good speaking about it. So I just would love to hear you speak about it here.
Of course. I don't know, man. It's like with God, it's like it's so amazing, but it's also it's like a life journey. But you know, the thing with God is that God is important to everyone, even if you don't believe in God. Like, even if you don't believe in God, you could feel there's something. Even if you don't believe in God, the word God and the energy of God is all around you. So when I was growing up, I was always looking for myself. I was always looking for God, and I went to a lot of like religions. So I went to a lot of different churches, Muslim, Zion's Church, Christian, Catholic, Jehovah Witness. Like I was just going to all these places, trying to find God, trying to find myself. And what I learned from studying all these different religions is that it's almost like everyone's talking to the same God with a different name, you know? And when that started clicking in my head, I was like, whoa, something up, something's up here. Like, I'm like, all right, God. And then you start hearing scripture because now I figured out, like, all right, all these religions are talking to the same God, the same higher power with a different name. Then you hear scripture of like, they say, God lives within you, right? So then that gets me thinking. I'm like, why do we keep looking everywhere outside of ourselves for God when it tells you God's within you? God lives within you. So then I started diving deep and I'm like, wow, like, you know, you start breaking the dimensions down and your higher self and your lower self, and you figure out that you are your best friend, you are your worst enemy. So, and relating to God, it's like you have the power of God within you, but you also have the lower level of becoming your own devil, you know? So exploring that made me find that it's like, oh crap, God's within you. And right here, they call this the temple, right? So they say God lives in the temple. So God lives in here. They say the universe is mental. So life happens twice. Life happens first in your mind and then it happens out here. And with God tapping into that higher source, that higher power, the way I tapped in after going everywhere and trying to find God was when I finally tapped into myself. I found out that I could connect to God so easily when I connect to myself. And that's where I got the concept of generator, operator, destroyer. Because when you talk about God, God creates. So to generate is to create energy. Then to operate is to control things. Operate it, make sure everything's functioning. Then to destroy, people don't like that word. They're like, God, destroyer? How? And it's like destruction is a part of creation. Destruction, destroying the old allows for new things to be created. So that whole process of generator, operator, destroyer, and then they say, oh, man is made in the image of God, you know? So then I looked within myself, and when I was able to tap into the energy, my energy, the energy, the inner God, it allows me to tap into the higher source, to the higher power, where I realize I'm like, wow, I'm the generator, operator, destroyer. God works through me. God, I am the vessel for this divine spirit. So I get to choose when I want to create, operate, and destroy things in my life. When things were toxic and poisonous in my life, I had to become the destroyer so I could create a healing environment for myself. You know, so it's things like that throughout the journey that it's like, God has helped me this whole way. When I think of swim, the last song on Swim is God because after I finished swimming, I found God, and it was when I found myself. And it was because finding these codes of generator, operator, destroyer, higher power, you hear all these religions going back to that, where I said, like, it almost sounds like everyone's talking to the same God in a different name. So in the song God from Swim, I start off with saying who you do it for. You do it for God, do it for Allah, do it for Jesus, Jehovah, Buddha, Muhammad, Judah, Yahweh. You know, what do they all have in common? The right? It's God, Allah, Judah, Buddha, Muhammad, right? It just goes on. All the gods have the So I'm like, what is this ah? The ah is the feel good tone. It's like you drink some water. We got some swim water right here. You drink water, do, and you go ah, because water is life. So when you talk about God, it's like God gives you life. When you're in church, they say hallelujah. They say amen. You know, so the God is in all of us. We just have to own it, embrace it, and surrender to it, surrender to the higher power, and then that's how you find it.
Mm, I love how you said this and I feel like to me it also kind of resonates with I. Like it's God, but it's also me, and it's kind
Yeah.
of, I don't know. I feel like if you talk to someone who is very religious, it might sound arrogant if you say I'm God, but like
Mhm.
even Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha, they all said it. They all said it that the kingdom is within, and that we can be like Jesus or we can be like some
Right.
other enlightened beings, right? So we need to find it within, as you said, and I totally resonate with that. Although I feel like with this destroyer part, this is a pretty interesting theme because for I don't know. I think that a lot of religions depict God as something that is only good, and then the evil is Satan. The evil is like bad, but actually, it's all one. So even though there could be Satan, let's say, even as an idea, right? Let's say that there is Satan, it's still created by God, so it's still part of God because it's God's creation. So even though I don't see it that way, I see, Satan, evil, it's not really something that we should resist. We should actually understand it, learn from it, and accept it, and then choose something else, choose something that is in alignment with us. And also I feel like I've had experiences in my life where I felt like no matter what I do, no matter if I'm even a thief or, a bad person or whoever, I'm still a part of God. I'm still the universe expressing itself through me. And no matter what I do, I'm adding to the divine expansion. Literally, no matter what I do. So I can be a bad person. I can do wrong things, right? I can, I don't know, sin. But still, I am a part of God no matter what I do, because it's not about what I do, it's about me expressing itself as this human being through like the consciousness, the everything, divine self is just expressing itself through me and expressing itself through everyone else around me. So what is in alignment with me? This is the question. Like, what is moral for me? What feels in harmony with myself? Because I'm probably not gonna go and be a thief because it's just out of alignment with who I came here to be. But also I should not judge someone who does it, because their role is to show us maybe how not to act, or maybe their role is to show us some of the emotions of compassion and forgiveness. And maybe there's something even more when we are able to experience this destruction, this negativity, this evil, so called, right? Because everyone is like, oh, evil is so wrong. But is it actually, or is it just the polarity to show us who we want to be and how we want to express ourselves? Because without the evil, we would not feel good. There is no good without bad. So we need to experience it. We need to know how it feels to forgive, how it feels to have compassion, how it feels, the whole spectrum, not only the good things. Because if everything was good, there would be no like awareness of who we actually are. So I feel like it's so important to bring it on, like to actually accept the evil. And I know it's not easy. No one said it's gonna be easy, but I feel like we are so programmed with the things that this is bad, like death is bad, like this and this and this is bad. But is it actually, or is it something that is bringing us even more good? Because then we have such a disparity between the evil and who we want to be and how we want to express ourselves, that we bring even more goodness into our lives. Because if we see people suffering, we bring even more help. If we see something, someone bad, we bring even more love and forgiveness and compassion. So I just really wanted to mention it because I think it's important to have this awareness. And what do you think about it?
You're right on point. I definitely agree. What I call that is the contrast. We need contrast in life because really everything comes from the darkness. We start from the darkness. When you're in the womb, you're in the dark waters, and it's breaking through that contrast is when you feel the light, when you see the light, it's like, whoa, gives it so much meaning because it's filling in that darkness. You know, that contrast, I agree, is like, when I remember when I was waking up, it was like I had this concept in my brain where it was like the world makes us think that God and the devil are against each other. But I was like, how about if they actually work together? You know what I mean? And just how you said, the contrast demonstrates for us. If you see the word demonstrate, it almost looks like demon straight. There's the word demon and demonstrate. So it's like when you be like, you're battling your demons, which is your shadow, and sometimes it's projected or reflected through other people, is demonstrating for you what to do and what not to do. You know, when things go bad, it's not really bad. It's showing you, look, you should appreciate things. When they're good, when it's sunny outside, appreciate it. Because if things were always good, no one would value it. No one would appreciate it. If things were always good, no one knows what good feels like, you know? So with the contrast, when things do get evil or negative, that's space for us to grow. That's space for us to fill in. That's space for us to be like, oh, there's evolution. I need to step into my higher self, you know? So I love that. A lot of people, especially now that, there's a lot of more mindfulness and people are like on a more positive level, people are still scared. Like they want to like get away from the negativity. I'm like, no, God's putting this in front of you for a reason, for you to learn a lesson right now, because it's cool that it's like all love and light, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's not all love and light. This is spiritual warfare out here. We're at battle. So we have to take this contrast and take that and alchemize it. We have to transmute the negative, and that's why that's even better, because it allows you to step into your higher self even more. When there is a lot of
Mhm.
contrast and things look like it's black and white, it's really one whole thing. There is a system of duality, the polarities, but at the same time, it's like the yin yang. You see the black and the white, but really it's one circle. you know so this
Mhm.
is all
Mhm.
one. The good and the bad is all one, a part of this journey to bring us back home.
Absolutely. I resonate with it so much. And so I'm curious to know, what are your ways, most aligned ways for you to connect to God?
I have a couple tricks up my sleeve. I
Tricks?
would yeah. I believe in magic. I believe in natural magic. So it's like, to me, one of the best ways for me to tap in is, one of the biggest thing is drinking water. you know um I feel like water, like I said before, like the so like the God, like when I'm not feeling good, when I feel really disconnected from spirit, from God, I'm like, all right, up my intake on water. Then the second thing is, I have to ground. I have to go outside and put my feet in the dirt, in the grass, and walk around for a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes, an hour, and you know, create these affirmations. I create affirmations too to remind myself I am a child of God, and I am also one with God, and I am also God. You know, so when drinking water is important for me, but also grounding, like putting my feet back into Mother Earth. Because if anything, that's another expression of God, is the earth. Mother Nature is God as well. So it doesn't get no closer than me putting my feet into Mother and tapping right back into God.
And I love how you connect to God through drinking water, because actually, my number one spiritual mentor, Teal Swan, she always says that the source energy and the water have very similar vibration. So literally, if you are in the water or if you're around the water, it brings you to these higher vibrations, because water has a very high frequency. So drinking water actually brings you closer to God, and not many people know that. And I even have heard from someone, I don't remember who it was or how it was, but I remember that there was a person who was healing people from diseases just by telling them to drink more water, and people were healing, because if you just can detoxify more and more through drinking water, it's like all the diseases don't even have, anymore the like capacity to be there, because you're just flushing it all out. And if you drink good quality water, like alkaline water, that's really charging it up with love and with positivity, or with good music like Beethoven or whoever, right? If you just drink good quality water, we are made of water, so you can literally heal through drinking beautiful water, especially the one that is charged with positive emotions. I truly believe that. And even the Masaru Emoto water experiment shows it, right? Like it's clear that the water changes particles when it's exposed to positive vibrations. So if we can feel positive emotions, we literally change the structure of the water inside of our body. And so I love how you connect it to source with the water, because I truly believe it is one of the ways that, no, I mean, people actually do it, because in church they always have the holy water, right? So if you can have a holy water and you bless it and you drink it, then you can make a holy water yourself. It doesn't have to be something, from Fatima or wherever, wherever the water is. I don't even know. But I'm not a very religious person. I'm more of a spiritual person, so I don't even freaking remember what the Catholic Church has told me. But you can bless your own water, and it's already then blessed, and you can do it yourself. So I love how you say it, and I'm curious to also know, because I know that you've been fasting in your life, and to me, fasting was one of the ways to connect to God, like hardcore. And if you look at all these religions, like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, they were all fasting, like they were all going without food, and maybe without water as well. And so for me, I felt like when I did especially dry fast for the first 3 days, I felt like on the fourth day when I was meditating, I literally got access to my trunk chakra, to the divine energy. I literally felt like something clicked, almost as if I died and were reborn. It's like my body needed to switch to a different source of energy, which is the source energy, like literally divine energy. And for me, it was one of the most powerful spiritual tools ever. And it's so funny because you have all these tools. Okay, meditate for hours, or okay, go and do plant medicine. Okay, go do this. But you can just stop eating and drinking, And it's just like you can just stop it. You don't have to take anything or do anything. You can just stop things and then connect to God. And for me, it's just so powerful. So I'm curious about your experience, how you felt your fasting process, because honestly, to me, it was one of the most powerful tools ever. And I'm curious to know how it was for you.
Oh my goodness. Oh, when I every time I look back into like when I was really doing the intense fasting stages of my life, it's like in the moment it was crazy. But when I look back, it's so beautiful. I definitely agree. Like those were some of the biggest like breakthroughs I've had with spirit. Like you said on your fourth day, like transferring from one source of energy to that source of energy. I experienced that too. Fasting changed my life. Like it's changed my life emotionally. It allowed me to get a lot of trauma out of my body. I healed a lot through fasting, not just physically, but emotionally, energetically. The mental clarity is provided for me in my life. It's been amazing. But other than that, like literally changing my life. I'm big on words. So swim, spoken words, and motion, that's the way I keep attracting. Like I manifest through swim. I manifest through words because words create worlds. So when I was fasting, I'm like, fast? That's like manifest. Like we all want to manifest. When you fast, that's when you're connected to source. So all the downloads are coming, all the downloads, boom, boom, boom. And anything you shoot back up, it's gonna pop up quick. Cause when you fast, things manifest fast, you know? And that's been my experience with that. And that's why I always recommend it to people. It's like you really want to get connected, don't eat for like 3 days. That's it. Just at least 3 days, and you'll start getting tapped in, and you'll be like, "Whoa, okay, there's something more out there. There's something stronger." Because it's what's keeping you alive at that point. You know what I mean? Like, what's keeping you going every day when we thought our whole lives you need food and you got to eat 3 times a day every day you know so things like that. I mean, fasting changed my life. It allowed me to connect so much. It allowed me to trust myself and have stronger faith as well, to trust the strength that I have within me. you know when I go days and days without eating and drinking, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy, and they're like, Willie, you're gonna die. I'm like, no, I have faith. I know this is working. I feel great. By the time it's like day 5, day 6, everything starts changing. I'm like, whoa, I'm electrified. But to go a little deeper too on my fasting journey, I've been fasting for the last like 5, 6 years now. Now whenever I need a reset, I do like a 3 to 5 day fast. I'm actually on a fast right now. I'm on my second day. But going back to my journey in the beginning, I started my fasting like 3 days at a time. And after a couple months, it led me to actually doing a 30-day fast. So I did a 30-day fast from Thanksgiving of 2016 to Christmas of 2016. So I challenge myself. So it's like, I'm like, if I'm going to do these 30 days, I'm gonna fast when it's the hardest time, which is Thanksgiving, when there's the best food of the year, when everyone's eating around you. I was like, I'm gonna fast. And I fasted for 30 days straight until after Christmas. And that changed my whole life. And then I did another 30-day fast. So I've done one 30-day fast that it was just juice, just like doing my own juices, like fresh juices. And then I did a 30-day fast where it's just water. And then I've done a 10-day fast, just dry fasting for 10 days. And they all changed my life. And, people see it now. When I was talking about it before, people were like, this kid is crazy. But now they seen how connected I am with spirit. They see how connected I am with the divine and the way I walk in my life with faith. Because so many things are opening up in my life now. Once I was able to get all of that out of my system, all the trauma, all the healing I needed to be done, my connection to God. Because sometimes even when you get connected, you stray away. Sometimes we get away from God, even though we was connected at one point, and that comes back into self love too. It's like people like, oh no, I love myself, but then you start doing things that is not loving yourself, and then you get far away from loving yourself, and then you got to come back. So I feel like fasting's like that too. Fasting's the best way to connect to God, to connect to source, but also to show yourself, your body, your spirit that you love yourself, you know? So fasting is one of the biggest things in my life.
Oh, I love that. I freaking love that. And I was on a quite similar journey, although I didn't start from 3 days. I just started from day one to day two. I just decided, okay, I'm not going to eat from tomorrow for 3 weeks. So I was a little bit like even more crazy than you, I think, because I just like from day one to day two, I was like, okay, I can do this. So,
You just gotta go
I'm.
for it.
I'm a freak like you, and I started dry fasting straight away for I think
Wow.
3.5 or 4 days, and then I did water the rest of the 3 weeks, and I did the same process the second time where the week was dry and then 2 weeks on water, and then I did like 3 or 5 days on juices or coconut water here and there. So since then, it was a few years ago. Since then, I didn't do like a big fast just because I had work and things to do, and I believe
Yep.
that if you fast for so long, you really need to focus on yourself. You really need to meditate. You really need to give your body just rest, because you need to switch from normal solid food to the divine food, so called, right? So your body needs to have time to recalibrate and actually, yeah, just re-energize, because as you said, after a few days you actually feel more and more energy. The first few days maybe are the energy goes down because your body don't know what
Right.
the hell is going on, but then afterwards you feel more and more, and after 2 weeks of fasting you feel normal and you don't even want to eat anymore, you don't even want to drink anymore, because you're like, I mean, drinking maybe it's a little bit different, because I think I like drinking and I like having some taste in my mouth. But also I thought that I'm not going to be able to do a week dry fast because it's hardcore, right? Like when you don't eat and don't drink. But what I did is just to put some ice in my mouth and just like bite it and just like spit it all out. This was my way to do it, and put a lot of like coconut oil on my mouth because it gets a little dry as well. And I was able to do a week, and I found that the more you do it, the actually easier it becomes, because your body, your nervous system is already like, okay, we've already not eaten the last time, so now it's not going to be a big deal if we don't eat again. And also even people around us, right? As you said, like people were saying you're crazy. Like my mom cried for a month when I came after the first 3 week fast, and when I said I don't intend to eat right now, and then just didn't eat solid food for half a year. I was just on liquids, and my mom was just like, what the hell, like, she's gonna just destroy herself. But then I was going for all this zumba and I was dancing and I had so much energy, and she was like, okay, like go and do the blood test. I did the blood test, it was perfect. And she's like, okay, maybe it's not that bad as I think, right? And so then the second time I did it, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna go and to do a 3 week fast. Okay, okay, enjoy. Like, have a good connection to your soul, enjoy. But the first time it was really crazy, because I feel like, yeah, we're just not used to talking about it. But if you really think about it, there is so many people who are fasting, and there's just a belief system that we have, that we cannot live without water, we cannot live without food. But actually, like, have we always eaten that much? Have we always had access to food or to drinks like this? No. So we had to live somehow naturally without it at some point in our evolution, right? So why cannot we just come back and reset and just come back to this natural way of being, where we just eat some berries from the bush, and here and there some things that we can get, from the forest or whatever, and maybe we would be fasting, intermittent fasting, normally in our evolution. So I totally believe that we can switch. And honestly, I feel like I really love talking about it, because if someone can fast even for 3 days, they will realize that actually the amount of food that we are eating is way too much. And I feel like we could just all fast and just decrease it half. We could eat still, but half of it, because I found that for myself, I cannot eat the whole meal in the restaurant now that they are serving me after I fast. It's just impossible. It's just too much, right? So if we could all just decrease our consumption by fasting, the world could be a better place. We would care more about Mother Earth, about the resources that we have, and it would be just way, way better. So I'm just such a big fan of fasting, and I just love that I can talk to you about it, and that we are both
Yeah.
freaking crazy, and we both are hardcore and extreme. Because I do not recommend to do it at home like this, guys. Please start with 1 or 3
Not
days
recommended at
first.
all.
Do not do it like we do it, but if you have some guide, if you have someone who have already done it, you can maybe be guided. And also there are different ways of fasting too, and different ways of preparation. Some people like to at first go on smoothies, and then juices, and then water,
Hmm.
and maybe a little dry, and then gradually like decrease. So maybe some people do 1 day, then in a month 2 days, in a month 3 days, and then they gradually like extend the time. So there are so many ways to do this. But yeah, maybe do not do it like us, guys. Just you know,
Yeah, take it
maybe it's not
slow.
exactly.
I definitely
Maybe it's
agree.
not a
That's
big deal.
why sometimes it's hard to give advice, because if it's like someone like us, you're just like, you got to go for it. It's like do or die, like all in. But a lot of people, that'll be too much for them. So I would definitely recommend take it one day at a time, see how you feel. Talk to someone that has done it that could guide you. But definitely, I feel like fasting is also part of like how to break people out of the matrix. Also like to wake them up. Like if someone fasts for 3 days, even a day, but just 3 days really, they'll be like, whoa, like they'll really start thinking about life completely different. So I think that's one of the best ways to like, get into that spiritual awakening and connect back to source.
Yeah, and also it brings you so much more appreciation for life, right? Because when you fast and you are quite weak and your body needs to rest and you need to sit at home, let's say for 3 days, and then you just go out and you see nature and you can drink the first sip of the water or the first sip of the juice after fast and the first bite of an apple or whatever, it's like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, right? Have you experienced it?
Oh yes, that's what I was saying before. That it's like when when you're in it, it's tough, and those first few days, it's like, what am I doing? What did I get myself into? But then you feel better, and then when you break fast, oh my goodness, it's like it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's like you taste God in your mouth. It's like you feel the water coming down every single part of your body and making its way down, and you feel it like your organs grabbing onto the water, like, oh, thank you. And you eat that apple, is like a whole bunch of life starts popping around in your mouth, and you taste everything, and it's like, oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love how you describe it. You can really feel I can really feel how you remember the feeling. But yeah, I remember the first sip of water after the dry fasting. It was like the ambrosia. It's like a nectar of gods. It's like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. Even for this feeling, to have this contrast, as we were speaking before, to have a contrast of not having something and then having it again, you can appreciate it so, so much more. So then you gain appreciation for life as well. And as you said, you build strength, because if you are like, oh my God, I actually can stand it without eating, you build your muscle, you build the belief in yourself, and you build also, for me it was also building the or like releasing the fear of survival, because I was like, okay, if I don't have to eat, I can just like live somewhere where it's like hot weather, or live, let's say, I don't know, on Bali, and just eat a fruit from time to time from a tree, and just, sleep beneath the stars, and I'm sweet. Like, I don't need anything else, really. Of course, I have other ambitions and other things that I want to do with my life, but honestly, if it boiled down to it, I can live like that easily. And so it gave me a lot of safety in myself, that I can survive no matter what. I feel like that was the feeling that I got. Did you find something similar?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. Like that muscle that you're talking about, it's like what that muscle is faith. That nothing could stop you. That's the generator operator destroyer. That it's like you see that you could generate on your own strength off your own energy, but also at the same time, you see that it's like there's something providing energy for you. So it builds a lot of faith. I would also say that throughout those times too, it's like it helps you build a different mindset, a different character, a different appreciation for life. It also shows you like, you know, that almost anything is possible. Because I feel like when you fast, it breaks through so many barriers and so many blockages that it's like after I fasted, I'm like, yo, I could do anything. That's how you feel.
Absolutely, I felt it too. And one of the things that I also want to mention is that my period pain and period length decreased massively. Like fasting was one of the ways that have healed my womb, really. Like so many emotions just got
Ah,
out of me, so many toxins got out of me that afterwards it was like half as long, in
right.
duration, and also very very like little pain, because normally I would sometimes, only from time to time, not even every time, I have maybe a 2 or 3 hours of pain, and then I'm alive again, and I can even walk and I can talk. And before it was just like laying down in bed for the whole day, it's not being able to even move. And so that is just an
Yeah.
example for me, like how much you can heal, because it's really about the emotions that are stored there, that are getting so tense, and it's just so contracted, that when you can just really release and detoxify,
Mm.
it's freaking amazing. And so yeah, I'm just such a big advocate for fasting. I'm so excited that we are able to talk about it here and encourage people to do this. It's just freaking cool. And
Yes,
so
me
we have a few
too.
minutes left, so I was thinking if you would be maybe happy to share a little bit of your music or your art or maybe a poem, because you're a writer as well, like whatever you feel called to share, flowing from the divine, just something to leave our audience with.
Okay, okay. I would say I have this song on Swim called Dreams. Um, and pretty much it goes like this. It's like, what happened to your dreams? Did they not make you believe? Did they close your mind up and throw out the keys? You know? Um, that's one of my favorite songs because when I was drowning, the only thing I had to hold on to was my dreams. And what I say in that song of, what happened to your dreams? Did they not make you believe? Did they close your mind up and throw out the keys? You know, the whole point of that song is I don't want for people to forget their dreams. Don't let the world kill your dreams because your dreams is real. Those are your downloads, you know? So that's one of my favorite parts, like the hooks of the song is don't forget your dreams. What happened to your dreams? Did they not make you believe? Because the world will make you forget your dreams. So I'll definitely leave everybody off with that. Don't let them kill your dreams. You know, dreams will take you back home.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for the people who would like to follow you and listen to your music and see your content and so on, what is the best way to find you?
I would say go to Instagram, Mr. Contraband, or you could look up Willie Contraband on Google. There's also williecontraband.com. I have music videos out on YouTube. I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, anywhere and everywhere. So check me out.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this wonderful divine conversation. I'm really grateful. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me.